Deleted session, December 10, 1977. Good evening. Now you had a delayed reaction in the first session to some degree. This was the result of your own suggestions, for you said that Rupert's body would continue to relax as he slept. It is a good idea to use after suggestions, continuing the benefit during later portions of the day or evening. Some of the relaxation was not apparent either until Rupert began to use his body. You can generally expect two kinds of response. One dealing with relaxation and the other with better functioning or performance. The response of relaxation after the first session in fact helped set the stage for the better functioning that Rupert noticed in various areas of the body this evening. While these may appear together or separately, the relaxation and the functioning continue. In the second session, you were tried at a time, tried rather than say relax yourself. Nevertheless, the suggestions you gave at that session allowed particular muscles a further but unnoticed relaxation, also contributing to the neck release Rupert felt this evening. The right leg has been preparing for some time to strengthen itself further. The process was only noticed today. The late difficulty of the last 2 weeks or so coming up the garage step has simply been the result of changes in both legs, quite beneficial, although in certain positions, whatever weight must be placed exclusively on one leg. Then, inequities come into play. Those inequities, however, also cause him to draw upon muscular reserves and trigger greater strength than he has had. Coming up the step today, though difficult, actually helped the right leg in its release. You reminded Rupert of suggestions you gave yourself once. He altered them. Your remarks, however, and his use of them became an example of creative suggestive behavior, for he seized upon the idea of the luxury of motion and realized that relaxation is motion. This should be stressed also in your suggestion sessions. The sessions, in a way, will be cumulative. There is no need for either of you to fear that the body is suddenly going to relax into a helpless mass. There is hardly any real danger, and represents simply old fears about the nature of relaxation. Rupert asks you to add suggestions for inspiration. Do so, for this reassures him that relaxation and inspiration do indeed go hand in hand. Watch the suggestions you give yourself about your own writing and unknown. Simply be conscious and aware of your own thoughts, for they serve as suggestions. Your lovemaking last night was highly beneficial for both of you. The physical activity itself is excellent. It allows the organism to release tensions in a pleasurable manner. Besides all of the other benefits I have more than once mentioned, you did indeed come into good rapport with Framework 2 yourself on the occasion you mentioned. You can try gently enough imagining Framework 2 in your sessions with Rupert. You fall asleep quickly, yet the simple mental image you use for Framework 2 can be an excellent suggestive tool before sleep. It is quite true to say that Rupert has hypnotized himself into his physical condition, because in the past, to some extent, he believed it necessary. To some extent, a lesser one, and with qualifications, you also believed the same thing. And so the suggestions you gave each other tallied. The fact that you are willing to consciously make an effort to change those suggestions is highly vital. That is the change neither of you were willing to make before. Ruber thought of wearing shoes, and when you came home, he rode them until nap time. I suggest that he make this more of a habit, for the shoes have a suggestive value, as he well knows. Actually, for now, wearing shoes a good portion of the day is sufficient. For him, the change of walking barefooted to wearing shoes and back again allows the body beneficial alteration of posture. Try to forget all notions that Ruber might relax so suddenly that he would be in difficulty, not able to get about, say. He might be too relaxed to get up for an hour or so, or need your help at the moment, but the body is simply not going to collapse if it relaxes, and those ideas could impede your progress. That is exactly what Ruber has feared, relaxing, so such ideas seem to confirm such needless worries to some degree. The body is a responsive organism. Your life is dependent upon that intimate relationship between body and mind. You cannot compel a body to be ideally healthy, meaning never indisposed in any way, shape, or manner, freed from the slightest ill. In a way, illnesses are definitely a part of health, for life itself consists of a fine alignment of imbalances. One disease may actually protect you from a stronger one, or from a detrimental course of action that you might otherwise follow. In a greater range of activity, I am trying to put this simply. A poor marriage, for example, is on the same level as a chronic but not life-threatening disease. It is not simply that disease is disease, and the relationships are relationships, but that the individual generally tries to achieve the best possible conditions for a satisfying spiritual, emotional, and physical existence according to beliefs and intents. At different times in life, certain areas may become prerogatives, while other just as important areas are largely ignored or downplayed, in which case they suffer. It is quite useless to say that people's decisions in such matters are right or wrong. They are. The same applies, for example, to national conditions, until finally the ignored areas become so obvious that something must be done. There is no separation between body and mind, so that the body has emotional considerations to take into consideration also. It has mental reasons for its actions, then as the mind has physical ones. A poor marriage, for example, bringing years of loneliness or bitterness, is again the same thing in its way as, say, chronic kidney stones. Such a person may, however, according to intents and beliefs and focus, be in fairly decent physical health, because health may be a prerogative. The entire life situation may be unpleasant, but I am trying to show that all ills are not necessarily physical ones. There will be changes, I imagine, in your sessions as you mutually move ahead to even greater resolution, so that you dare make suggestions that you might not think of right now. I am going to end our session. I suggest the following, however. Watch television or whatever, but imagine, lightly now, a pyramid with each of you at its base, going upward into framework 2. The energy you sense in whatever program you watch, imagine almost like a generator, as energy here drawing power from framework 2 into the room, into Ruber's body and your own, activating both your physical and psychic existences. I have a reason for this, and as I have for everything, I am aware of your questions. Save them for our next session, and do your imaginary briefly before bed also. My heartiest regards and a fond good evening. Ralph said, thank you, Seth. Good night.